Liverpool versus AC Milan is more than just another preseason clash. It's going to be a huge opportunity to test our defensive recovery speed and to also see which partnerships are starting to click going forward. Let's break it down. Now, it's going to be very interesting to see if we decide to play Frimpong and Kekesh from the very beginning, how they handle the likes of Rafa Leao and Christian Pulisic, who are very quick forwards, blistering on the counter. And it's going to be interesting to see also the role that Szoboszlai gets given in this Liverpool team, because in the training clips that we've been watching and the live training session that was put up yesterday, it was interesting to see him play at times as the right back. And I don't think in this game he's going to particularly play at right back, because another key person who we haven't seen much of lately is Alexis McAllister. Now, I was getting a bit worried seeing the rumors linking him to Real Madrid, but I think he's maybe just sidelined as a precaution to maybe a niggle or something wrong in his body. But we did see some pictures of him joining up training, though we didn't see him extensively training with the team. So it's going to be interesting to see Szoboszlai play not in the number 10 position, because I think Florian Wirtz is going to play in that position, but we're going to see Szoboszlai as an 8 or as a double 6 or double 8 with Gravenberch, who I think is going to play as well. And we've seen Szoboszlai looking very intense in training, so it's going to be interesting to see some of that intensity coming from him. And I think in terms of our recovery speed, we already know that Frimpong and Kekesh are very fast defenders going forward and coming back, but it's going to be interesting to see whether we unlock them going forward right away or we give them a bit more of a muted role in this particular game. Because in the first preseason game we played, we saw Kekesh bombing up and down in that left wing, but we saw a very muted Jeremy Frimpong playing on that right side. But I think that's was in anticipation of the fact that we're a much stronger team against Preston, who we played first. But in this sense, we're going to go against a defense that's going to be very solid, because AC Milan play with that back five when they're defending. So it's going to be interesting to see whether we unlock a bit more of Jeremy Frimpong going forward, so we can break down that defense even more effectively. But in coming back in the opposite direction, it's going to be interesting to see whether it's just speed and recovery, or whether he has a very good sense of positioning himself and anticipating and making those tackles in time before they become problematic. So I'm gonna be interested in see how Virgil van Dijk marshals that defense and controls those partnerships and dictates who's going forward, who's coming back on time, and just see him backing orders and in defense. So that's going to be interesting. But another key that's going to be interesting in this game is going to be the partnerships that are starting to click going forward in attack and in midfield. And one key one that I saw in the practice sessions that we've seen and in the behind closed doors game highlights that we saw is the relationship that's building slightly between Florian Wirtz and Mohamed Salah. Mohamed Salah seems to be enjoying playing with Florian Wirtz in practice and in those clips that we saw, but I think a bit of a partnership is developing between the two of them, and we know because of how important Mo Salah is for Liverpool, it's going to be very key that those two start to click immediately and that we see something going forward. So that's going to be very exciting. But another player that I think for me, and I think I'm going to make a dedicated video for this, because I think it's going to be a breakout season for Cody Gakpo, who is maybe just properly rated by Liverpool fans, maybe underrated by the opposition. But for me, I think it's going to be a very budding season for him, because last season he began it very strongly when he was contesting that left wing position with Luis Diaz. His numbers dropped off a little bit when Luis Diaz moved into that false 9 position and started playing there consistently. But I think Cody Gakpo is going to be a very interesting player, because on that left wing, he's a very good dribbler with the ball, but he doesn't only typically go inside and tries to shoot, but we've seen him also take on 1v1 his player, go to the byline and have those cutbacks. So it's going to be interesting to see the cutbacks coming from Cody Gakpo, the cutbacks coming in from Jeremy Frimpong, and I think it's going to be a very fruitful season for Mohamed Salah because of the chances that are going to be created for him, put on a silver platter hopefully. So this is going to be a very interesting game. Right opposition to test our defense, but also the right opposition to test ourselves going forward in breaking down that stubborn Italian defense with the back five. In terms of starting lineup, I think Alisson might start as the goalkeeper, but I think with the goalkeepers, they might do that 45 minutes with Alisson and Mamadashvili sharing those two halves, but I think Alisson will get the first half. In terms of the defense, I think Virgil van Dijk will partner up Ibrahima Konate. Amid the speculation that's still happening with Real Madrid, I think those two are going to be a solid defense if he decides to stay. And I think we're going to see right away Milos Kerkez on the left, but I think we're going to see Connor Bradley start the game with Jeremy Frimpong coming in as a substitute, maybe at halftime or maybe at the 60th minute mark. And then in midfield, because we haven't seen too much of Alexis McAllister, I'm not sure if he's nursing a little bit of an injury, but we did see that he's with the team in Hong Kong, but we haven't seen much of him in training or in the clips from the behind closed doors game. So I think we're going to have a midfield of Gravenberch playing alongside Szoboszlai, and then we have Florian Wirtz in the 10. And this gives an opportunity for Szoboszlai to play in the game, because a lot of us have had questions on whether Wirtz and Szoboszlai can play together, and this has been answered straight away in the few bits that we've seen in pre-season in the games and in training, whether with him playing at right back and Wirtz at the 10, or with him playing in midfield in the absence of Alexis McAllister, which I think will be the case in this game as well. In terms of going forward, Mohamed Salah I think will start. We'll have, I think Darwin Núñez will start, because I think this game comes too soon for Hugo Ekitike, who recently just joined the team literally yesterday, trained with the team today, so maybe we'll see him get a few minutes towards the end of the game. We don't know what Arne Slot might want to do, but judging on what he did with Chiesa in the previous season, I don't think we're gonna see too much of Hugo Ekitike in this game. On the left, I think we're gonna see Cody Gakpo starting and playing a majority of those minutes, with Luis Diaz probably coming in either for Darwin Núñez if Ekitike is not subbed in, or as a false 9, and or coming in for Cody Gakpo if that substitution happens later in the game. For subs to look out for, I think Harvey Elliott has been having a good pre-season. In fact, even before pre-season, with the game that he played, the games that he played in the under 21 Euros for England, ending up winning player of the tournament. But I think in an interview that he did with the Red Men, he raised some speculation around whether he might stay or he might leave. He did make it very clear that he's interested in staying, he would love to stay, but he knows that if he wants to get more minutes, it might be a good thing for him to look for a move away. I would personally prefer him to stay. I think Curtis Jones has also been doing very well in the preseason, so it's going to be interesting to see him subbed in later in the game. And I think with my score prediction, Liverpool will win this game 2-0 in my belief, because I think defensively we're going to be quite solid and have a lot of pace in recovery, which we didn't have last season, certainly with Trent Alexander-Arnold and with an aging Robertson on the left hand side. So it's going to be quite an interesting game, but I think we will have a clean sheet for both the keepers in this game. And as we've seen with the Arsenal AC Milan game, these preseason games go to penalties regardless of whether it was a draw or a win. I think that's just an opportunity for the teams to test how they are in penalty taking, so it's going to be interesting to see some of the techniques that our players are using in taking penalties, and who's very good under pressure and who can't handle the pressure. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment below with your score prediction and subscribe to the channel. Help us get to 200 subscribers before the beginning of this season.